Okay, so once again, good afternoon. So actually, I'm expecting around 35 students for this class. Okay, so last time we already discussed some basic disk operating system functions. I already demonstrate on how we'll be able to use different disk operating system commands. This time, please can you turn off your microphone, please? Thank you. Okay, so if you have some questions related to my discussion, don't hesitate to type in our chat box. Okay, so I have 3 videos no, that is all about operating system fundamentals. So we start with part 1, lesson 1. Again, if you have some questions, do not hesitate to post your question in our chat box. Good day, everyone. So our topic for today is about operating system fundamentals. So throughout this course, you will learn about using computers. So a computer is essentially a collection of electrical and mechanical parts referred to as hardware. So each hardware part performs its own functions, and in order for all the parts to work together, they must be able to communicate instead of communicating directly with one another. The various components communicate via an operating system. Operating system fundamentals. In this lesson, you will study the features and functions of recent operating systems and learn how to start the PC and the way to access various features of the operating system. Upon completion of this lesson, you will be conversant with the functions of an OS, popular desktop OS, user account and profiles, power on and power off procedures, power options, using the start button, navigating the Windows desktop, using the taskbar, accessing the setting up, accessing the control panel, customizing the Windows desktop, the features of mobile operating system, and operating system updates. I'll make this presentation in 3 parts. Okay, so this will be the first part. Again, as I mentioned earlier, a computer is essentially a collection of electrical and mechanical parts referred to as hardware. So, the operating systems is a computer program. Okay? A program is a sequence of instruction that guides the computer through the performance of a specific task or sequence of tasks. The individual lines of instructions are referred to as code, and the term software refers to any program that makes computer run, including operating system and application programs. We need to take note that software developers write source code for their program in a human-readable format. In order to prepare a program to be installed and used on a computer, the source code is converted into an executable format through a process called compiling. Compiling changes source code into a machine code. Every computer requires an operating system in order to function. Think of an operating system as the central manager of a communication, coordination, and control. Application programs, on the other hand, allow you to be productive, to create documents or complete specific tasks such as creating a budget, removing red eye from a photograph, searching the internet, or scheduling a meeting. An application program uses the operating system to control the hardware functions of a computer, and you as a computer user interact with the operating system whenever you log on to the computer or type on the keyboard, tap on a touchscreen, or use an application program such as an email program or word processors. So it works like this as what I have here. As you work in the application program, the program interacts with the operating system behind the scene. So the operating system manages hardware devices, control communication among hardware devices, and controls communication between application programs and hardware devices, and manage files stored on the computer. The evolution of the modern OS interface. Since the early days of personal computing, operating systems have evolved from simple monochrome text screens to full color point and click or tap interfaces. An interface is a point where two systems or people or network or devices meet and exchange information. Anytime you use a computer, join a network, or plug in a device, you communicate with it through an interface. Today's modern operating systems communicate with you through a graphical user interface or the GUI or GUI. A GUI or GUI lets you use menus and clickable buttons or icons to start programs, move files, or perform other tasks. This makes it easy for users to work with the operating systems and get things done. Proprietary and open source operating system. Software is sold and or distributed with a particular type of software license. When you purchase a program, you are purchasing the right to use it. The ways in which you can legally use it are defined by the license that comes with it. Proprietary software. Most commercial software programs are proprietary. That is, they are owned by an individual or a company, usually the person or company that created it. The owner sells the executable copy of the software to users for use on their own systems and includes a license with the program. The owner also controls how the software can be used, if and how the source code can be inspected and or modified, and under which conditions, if any, it can be redistributed. Additionally, most commercial software is closed source. The software is released only in a compiled form and the source code is not released or made available. However, sometimes vendors will release sections of the source code to third-party developers who create enhancement routines or add-ons. When you install software, you must agree to the terms of the End User License Agreement or EULA. In most cases, the license agreement is quite restrictive. For example, the license determines the number of systems on which you can install the software, and it usually prohibits you from copying and distributing the software to other users. You are also restricted from attempting to decompile or reverse engineer the code back into a human readable format. You are restricted from making changes of any kind of the software. The open source software, in contrast to the restrictive licensing terms of proprietary programs, an open source software license makes the source code of the software freely available. Users are permitted to study, change, and distribute the software to anyone for any purpose. Actually, most open source software is distributed freely without charge. Although open source software does not necessarily need to be free, it is considered open source because the source code is freely available. Linux, FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and React OS are example of open source operating system. Mobile operating system based on Linux, For example, various versions of Android are open source but are often bundled with a substantial amount of proprietary software as well. Desktop operating systems. There are many types of operating systems in wide use today because there are many types of devices. You will focus on desktop operating system and mobile operating system by this time. A desktop operating system is one that is used on desktop and laptop computers. A desktop operating system is a large and robust program. It offers many features and provides a great deal of power and control over how the computer runs. Operating system version and editions. Operating system are released in various version and edition. An operating system version refers to the specific code base that was used to develop the operating system. For example, so we have Windows 7 and Windows 8 are different version of the Windows operating system. An operating system edition determines which features are available. For example, various versions of the Windows operating system are released in varying editions such as Home, Professional, or Enterprise. Today, you can choose from several operating systems. You might like Windows, while your friend prefers Mac OS X and your teacher or colleague likes Linux. Almost all operating systems include a desktop, which is the screen that opens once you log on and are ready to begin working. Operating system desktops usually include colorful backgrounds, icons, or buttons for accessing commands, and a status bar to show which programs are open and running. The desktop is the central place from which a user interacts with the computer. So again, for Windows, we have 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. So the Windows 8 and Windows 7 desktop is shown here. So we have Mac OS X, designed by Apple for Macintosh computer. So they have version 10.9, 10.10, 10.11, and the Mac OS X are shown here. Okay, as what we have here. As I said earlier, Linux is free and open source operating system. You can find Linux installed on supercomputers such as those used by Google and NASA, but it is also installed on millions of home and business computers because anyone who uses Linux can modify it, and it is very popular with programmers. So we have a list of version of Linux are called distributions or distros for short. So some popular distros are Nopix, Ubuntu, and Gentoo. Then we have of course the Unix. No? Unix was one of the earlier operating system and was first designed for use on large mainframe computers and servers. So modern versions are available for desktop system and include a GUI or GUI. However, the GUI is separate from the operating system. Common operating system features. No matter which operating system you use, certain features are common among all of them. So, user accounts. In addition to managing communication, devices, and file storage, an operating system keeps track of who is using the computer. This is accomplished through user accounts. So you can think of an account as a special area on the computer where you can work and keep your files separate from other users. So for example, an entire family can share a Windows PC, and each family member would have a distinct account with his or her own username, password, and account settings. An account name and usually a password is associated with each account. Before you can run programs, open files, or use the computer to accomplish any type of work, you must log on using a valid user account. So, when you first power on the Windows computers, one of two things can happen. So, if you are the only user on the computer and your user account does not require a password, then you will be automatically logged on to your account and the desktop appears. If you are using a computer on which multiple user accounts have been set up, or if your user account requires a password, then Windows display an icon and account name for each user account, and you must log on to your account by clicking your account icon and entering your password. So as you can see here, this will be my user account actually, so Lenovo. No matter which operating system you use, certain features are common among all of them. Okay, now, account types. Operating system allows for the creation of different types of user accounts. Actually, in Windows, there are two readily available account types, standard user account and administrator accounts. So, of course, for administrator account, it enables you to make changes to the system that will affect other users. While the standard user account enables you to use most of the capabilities of the computer. Each type of account has a specific level of permission associated with it. Permissions are rules associated with objects on a computer, such as files, folders, and settings. Permissions determine whether you can access an object and what you can do with it. Everyone has permission to read, write, create, edit, view, or print files for their own account. However, only someone with an administrator account can see files created by other users on the system. Because an administrator account is created automatically when Windows is installed on a computer. If you are using your own computer, the account you create the first time you start up your computer is an administrator account. And you can then create additional administrator and standard user accounts. If you use a computer at your school or office, the system administrators will likely have already created an account for you. Your account may be an administrator account or a standard user account. Take note, computers you use in a school, library, or workplace are usually part of a computer domain. A domain is a network of computer systems that are controlled by a network administrator. Your ability to perform certain tasks, such as installing software, changing your password, or installing updates on a domain system can be tightly controlled by the administrator regardless of your account type. The account option. It is considered best practice to protect your computer and documents if you are going to be away from the system for any length of time. Two recommended practices are signing out of your account or locking your computer whenever you are away so that other people passing by cannot see or access any of your files. And of course, you can perform either of this task by clicking your user icon in the start menu and then selecting the desired option. So change account setting, lock, or sign out. So if you select sign out, all your programs and files are closed and you return to the Windows log on screen. User's profile. Each user account is associated with a profile, and a profile is a collection of settings that make the computer look and functions in a particular manner. A profile includes settings for elements such as the desktop background, lock screen, screensaver, pointer preferences, date and time format, and so on. Actually, when you log on to a user account, the setting in the associated profile are loaded and affect what is displayed on the desktop. And when you make customization such as changing the desktop background or applying a sound scheme, those changes are saved in your profile so that the next time you log on to your account, all of your customizations are in effect. You will customize your profile later in our session. Built-in power of procedures. Powering on and powering off a computer are two different processes. When you first power on or turn on or switch on the computer, you press the power button. The computer runs a set of self-diagnostic programs to ensure that critical hardware is working properly, and then it loads the operating systems into memory. Once the operating system is loaded, you are either logged on to your account automatically or you log on manually. Although, you simply press the power button to turn the system on, and you should never simply press the power button to turn the system off. You should always use the operating system's power off or shutdown option. This option ensures that any changes you have made to the system are properly saved. In that, any temporary files which are no longer needed are deleted. So, starting a Windows computer, on many desktop computers, the power switch is located at the front or top of the system case. The most commonly used icon for a power button is like this. So, the computer performs a startup test and then loads the operating system files into memory. This process is also referred to as booting. When the operating system is loaded, Windows will display either a welcome screen followed by the desktop or a logo screen from which you must select your account. Actually, and perhaps enter your password. After you log on to your account, the desktop displays. Powering off a Windows computer. When you are doing or when you are done working, you should save your work, close any open programs, and then power off the system. So each operating systems include built-in power-off procedures which you should use to ensure that files and programs are closed and that internal service are properly exited before the electrical power is cut off. In Windows 10, various options are presented in the power menu. So we have sleep, shutdown, restart, and the power. Take note, in Linux, the power off options are named halt, power off, reboot, and shutdown. In Mac OS X, the options are named sleep, restart, and shutdown. So understanding Windows power option affect the way your computer uses energy. Because we are often called away from our computers for various periods of time which fall inside our regular working hours, most operating systems provide option for reducing the amount of power the system uses. So for example, if you take an hour of lunch, you can use one of the power options on your computer to conserve power without having to shut the system off. Reducing power consumption is good for the environment and it prolongs battery life on a system that is running on a battery power. So Windows 10 provides several power options from which to choose. So this option includes sleep. Okay? Clicking sleep leaves the computer on but puts it into a mode where it uses less power than when it is awake. Hibernate. This option is found on laptop only. Shut down. The computer closes all files and programs, closes the operating system, and turns off the power. Then the restart. Windows closes all open files and programs, exits the operating systems, and restarts the computer without turning off the power. Looking at the Windows 10 desktop. The Windows desktop is the main screen on which program windows icons, menus, and dialog boxes appear. Your Windows 10 desktop should look similar to the following screen as what I have here. Okay? You will notice several objects or icons on the desktop. These vary from the system to another depending on how the computer is configured. So, we have desktop here. We have mouse pointer as you can see here. The start, the search box, and the taskbar. Okay, so of course, the desktop includes several types of objects that you use to move around and get work done. So, desktop icons, mouse pointer, start button, and taskbar. Navigating around the desktop. So, using a pointing device, you use a pointing device such as mouse or the touchpad to move the mouse pointer. So, we have the process here or the procedure. Using the keyboard, a number of features can be accessed through the keyboard. So for example, press the Windows button to open the Start menu, press Escape to cancel an action, or press Tab to move to the next field in the dialog box. For touchscreen, if you have a touchscreen device, so you can follow these procedures. Again, take note everyone, Windows 10 has been designed to work with touchscreen devices as well as it works with a traditional mouse and keyboard and provides the availability for the user to work in tablet mode. In this course, however, you will use a mouse and keyboard. Using the Start button and Start menu. To work in Windows 10, you begin at the Start menu. And to open the Start menu, you can click the Start button or press the Windows key. The Windows 10 Start menu includes a classic pop-up menu on the left and a panel of application shortcuts called tiles in the middle. Your user account icon display at the top left of the Start menu. Click your username to access commands to lock the screen, sign out, or change your account setting. Along the left side of the Start menu are shortcuts to the most used and most common programs, apps, and settings. Click an item to launch the program or access the setting. Some items display a right-facing arrow. Click the arrow to open a submenu of application-specific tasks or items. Click All Apps at the bottom of the Start menu to see all your apps and programs. Okay, so this will be my references for part 1. Okay, that this will be the coverage of part 1 for operating system. So therefore, we may proceed to part 2 of an operating system. Again, if you have some questions, do not hesitate to post your question in our chat box. So good day once again. So this will be the continuation of Lesson 1, Operating System Fundamentals, Part 2. So which is focused on about apps in application program. And at the same time, discuss the global and profile specific settings. To start with, no, both apps in application programs are software in both can be installed on various computing devices. An application program is a software designed to perform a variety of functions, whereas an app is software designed to perform a single function. Application programs are large and usually require a fair deal of system resources such as RAM and processing power. They are designed to be used with a mouse and keyboard, but apps are small and lightweight and are designed primarily for used on mobile touchscreen devices. Windows 10 refers to an application programs as desktop apps. For example, OneNote 2016 desktop apps refers to the installed application program, while OneNote refers to the app designed for the touchscreen interface. Search box or Cortana. Just to the right of the start button is the search box. So we have here, click in the search box and begin typing. Windows will display topics and file names that match what you type. When you first use Windows 10, the search box may display a circle icon and the text, "Ask me anything." And these elements are part of Cortana, the Windows 10 personal assistant. If you click in the box, the Cortana feature will open for initial setup. To use Cortana, you must sign into the system with a personal Microsoft account. And you can click "Not interested" on to turn the feature off. Now, using the taskbar. The taskbar appears at the bottom of the Windows desktop, although you can move it to either side or to the top of the window. So it includes the item described in our screen. Taskbar buttons. A button displayed in the taskbar for its open application program for some built-in Windows application such as Microsoft Edge or File Explorer, and for any application which you have pinned to the taskbar. Task View is a new view in Windows 10 that shows small windows of all your running applications in the middle of the screen and display a command for creating virtual desktop. Notification area. Display the time and date and provide quick access to items such as the volume control or a wireless network connection. Action Center. Click this button to open the Windows Action Center. Show Desktop. Point at this button to make all open windows transparent so you can see the desktop for a moment, or click it to instantly minimize all open windows on the desktop. Task View. New in Windows 10, Task View shows small windows of your running application and new desktop icon. You can click a window to bring the particular application to the front of your screen, or you can point the mouse pointer over a window to display a close button and click the close button to close the application. You can also click New Desktop to create a virtual desktop. In computing, the word virtual refers to the way a particular component or environment appears to a user. So for example, a virtual desktop is a software implementation of a physical desktop. It does not exist physically, but you can use it as if it did exist physically. So, as what I have here, click the virtual desktop to bring it front and center. When you are finished working with the virtual desktop, display task view, point the mouse pointer over the desktop you want to close to display a close button, and click the close button to close the desktop. The Action Center. When you click the Action Center button in the notification area, the Windows 10 Action Center open as a sidebar. Okay? You can read and respond to notification access system setting through the setting app. The button that appears in the Action Center are called Quick Action, and you can control which Quick Action buttons display by configuring the notification setting. Actually, you can also display the Action Center by pressing Windows plus A, or by sweeping or swiping in from the right on a touch screen. The taskbar buttons. When you open a program, an underlined button for the application appears in the taskbar as a visual clue that the program is running. If you point the mouse pointer over a taskbar button, Windows display a preview window for each file that is open within the application. Global and profile specific setting. In operating system, OS are highly customizable, allowing you to create the type of environment you like to work in. And some settings are global, of course, meaning they affect all users' account on the system. Generally, global settings are related to hardware. So for example, setting that affect screen resolution, power management options, date and time settings, installed printers, or whether to require a password when waking the computer are global setting. Profile-specific setting are setting tied to an individual user's profile. This affect only one user account on the system. Items such as background pictures, screensavers, themes, and sound schemes, or whether to display the file extension in File Explorer are example of profile-specific setting. There are two main areas from which you can access setting. So the setting app, you can configure several commonly accessed settings through the Windows 10 Setting app. Click Start and then Setting to open the main window of a setting app. From this window, actually, you can browse the categories of use of search box and upper right corner to find what you are looking for, including advanced options on specific pages in the control panel. Now, we need also to take note that you can also right-click on the desktop and click either display setting or personalize to open specific setting windows in the setting app. How about the Windows control panel? The control panel is the area in Windows where you can access features to customize setting for devices on your system. And you can access the control panel by right-clicking Start, then clicking control panel in the shortcut menu, or selecting an advanced feature in the setting app. And this will be an example of my computer control panel. So the default view of control panel topics is category view, and the categories are described by system and security. Of course, it provides option for firewall settings, power option, and file history or backups. Network and internet, set up or modify how your system connects to a network or the internet and to share files with others. Hardware and sound, set up or modify device such as printers, speakers, and monitors. The program provides access to system management tasks such as installing and uninstalling programs. User accounts provides options for setting the computer app to be used by more than one person. Appearance and personalization. Customize your screen with screensavers, desktop backgrounds, and so on. Clock, language, and region. Change the format of dates, time, currency, or numbers to reflect regional standards or languages. And ease of access. Provide options for changing accessibility specification such as turning on voice recognition or altering visual displays. In clicking a category opens a particular page or window in the control panel. In each screen provides link to other pages. Click various links to drill down to the command or feature you want to access. Note that in the preceding discussion, a small down-facing arrow displayed to the right of the word category, and this arrow denotes that a drop-down list or drop-down menu is available. And when you click the arrow, a list open and drop down on the screen, allowing you to click an option. You can use this drop-down menu to change the display in the control panel from category to view either large icons or smaller icons. Then the large icon view is given here in our presentation. When you drill down to a page where you configure setting, you can use the various menu options on the page. Of course, click the power options, system setting page in the control panel. And we have three other types of menu option used in Windows. So we have radio buttons, we have check boxes, and command buttons. So as you can see here, radio buttons force a user to select one option out of a group of options. Checkboxes allow users to turn one or more options choices on or off. And the command buttons enable a user to either save or abandon configuration setting choices. The dialog boxes. In Windows, no, you open specify setting through dialog boxes. A dialog box is a window that display on top of all other windows. It designed to accept user inputs and it remains open until you close it. Changing global setting. So you can use the control panel on the setting app to customize many operating system settings, including global settings. Some features, specifically those that affect how the computer functions or those that can affect other users, may not display in the control panel if you are using a system that belongs to a company or school domain. We need to take note that even if you have the ability to change certain settings, the options may not be readily available in the control panel. However, you can make these options available by clicking a link that says change setting that are currently available. In changing the screen resolution refers to the degree of clarity with which text and images appear. Because screen resolution is measured by the number of pixels or dots that the screen can accommodate, and the measurement are given as width by height. So for example, a resolution of 1024 by 768 displays. It means to say that 1024 pixels horizontally on the screen and 768 pixels vertically. And most display work best at their maximum resolution setting, and most systems are automatically set to use the highest resolution setting. However, you have the ability to adjust the resolution. If you reduce the resolution, items displayed on the screen will appear bigger, but you may not be able to see all the items on the screen. The screen resolution is global hardware setting, and you can access the resolution setting on the advanced display setting windows in the setting app. And you can also access it from display screen resolution page in the control panel. Changing password protection. By default, Windows 10 systems are configured to require a user to re-enter the logon password when waking the system from sleep. However, you can reconfigure these options through the Accounts windows or the Setting app. So, as what we have here, alternately, you can change the setting on the power option, system setting page of the control panel. Changing power management options. Hibernate mode, which is available on laptops, is not included in the power menu by default, and you can, however, specify to add these options to the power menu through the power option system settings page in the control panel as well. Customizing profile specific setting. Profile-specific settings are allow you to customize the look and feel of your PC to make your working environment truly yours. Changes that you make to these settings are saved with your profile and do not affect other users on the same computer. In customizing the desktop display, You can customize your desktop by changing the background picture, configuring a screensaver, changing window colors, applying themes, and configuring sounds. So to access this customization setting through the Setting app, use one of the following options. Click Start, Setting, Personalization. Or you just simply right-click an empty area on the desktop, then click Personalize. Now, you can use the tabs within the Setting app windows to make your customization. A few of the links of advanced setting take you to an appropriate page in the control panel. To access this customization setting directly through the control panel, right-click, then click Control Panel Appearance and Personalization, then choose Personalization. In Windows 10, a theme is combination of pictures, colors, and sounds. Each theme includes a desktop background, a window border color, sounds, and screen saver. So my themes you have customized, save, or download. When you make changes to a theme, the new setting appear in this section as an save theme. Windows default themes that are included with Windows 10. Themes, themes that are created by computer manufacturers or non-Microsoft providers. High constant themes, themes that are designed to improve computer performance or to make items easier to see. Click any theme to select it. For the selected theme, you can change the window color, sounds, and screensaver settings. Simply click the theme component at the bottom of the personalization window to access the configuration setting. To customize the desktop, use the desktop background option to display the background tab of the personalization window in the Setting app. Use the color option to display the colors tab of the personalization window in the Setting app. Then click a color square to specify an accent color. And you can also tell Windows to automatically select an accent color based on colors in your background pictures. Use the sounds option to apply a specific sound scheme to the theme. The sound scheme determines which sounds play when particular Windows events such as closing a program or minimizing a window occur. Okay? So again, use the sounds option to apply a specific sound scheme to the theme. Use the screensaver to select and apply a screensaver. If the screensaver includes configurable option, you can set those too. And this will be my references for the part 2 of lesson 1. Ano, that this will be the part 2 of the discussion about operating system. So, and now we may proceed to the final part of the of an operating system, which is more focused on mobile operating system. So, I think majority of you are very much familiar with mobile, but by this time, I just want to maybe relearn, or maybe you would be able to relearn, or you will be able to find out some available functions in mobile operating system. So, as much as we could able to discuss different platforms, either Android, iOS, and or mobile or Cherry mobile or the BlackBerry, I mean. So this will be the third and last part for operating system, part 1 or week 1 of our living in the IT era. Good day once again, everyone. This will be the part 3 of our lesson 1 in operating system fundamentals. So, mobile operating system. Smartphones and some tablets use mobile operating systems. Mobile operating systems are optimized for touchscreen technology, small screen size, fast file transfer, and accessing cellular networks, even though they run on small devices and are streamlined so that they do not use excessive battery power or system resources. They can accomplish an amazing array of tasks including phone calling, video calling, streaming, audio and video, internet browsing, texting, connecting to Wi-Fi, and pairing with Bluetooth devices. And some of the most widely installed mobile operating systems are Android, iOS, and Windows 10 Mobile, and BlackBerry 10. Of course, Android is from Google. Okay? The iOS is known from iPhone OS. The Windows 10 Mobile, formerly called Windows Phone. And of course, BlackBerry and is a closed source and proprietary. Touchscreen navigation on mobile OS. So, various phones in mobile operating system recognize specific action and gesture for navigating and performing tasks on a touchscreen. Generally, you can use the following motion and gesture to interact with a smartphone or tablet. Okay, so we have tap, touch, swipe, drag, pinch, and spread. Power on or off. To turn on a smartphone or tablet, press and hold the power button until the device start up. On most phones, the power key is also the lock key and you can press it to lock the device. For lock screen, mobile operating system on the smartphones and tablet typically use a gesture-based lock screen. A lock screen on mobile device is similar to the lock screen in Windows, and this screen display until the user performs the required gesture or enter the correct information, similar of course to entering your user account password in Windows. So, of course, in lock screen, we have swipe. Okay? Unlock the phone by swiping the screen. This option provides no security, of course. Pattern, you create a pattern by dragging your finger across a grid of dots and you enter that pattern to unlock the phone. PIN, of course, set and enter a personal identification number. Then password, you create password for unlocking the screen. Fingerprint, you can use fingerprint recognition to unlock the screen. And of course, none. You can set your phone to never use a lock screen. If you choose one of the secure lock screen option, you can also specify whether to show or hide content and notification on the lock screen. It is always a good practice, take note, to lock your phone. Smartphones often contain a lot of private information such as account numbers and electronic ID cards and more. Locking the phone can help prevent illicit use even if your phone is stolen. So the home screen is shown in, of course, as what we have here. This is an example of a home screen. So the home screen shown in the preceding figure includes the following features. Okay, notification icons, status bar, app shortcuts, app folders, widget, home screen indicator, dock, and app screen. The mobile setting app. So the setting app provides access to basic device setting for a small phone or tablet. In most mobile operating system, the icon for the setting app is a gear or set of gears. Tap the setting app icon to display the main setting page, which allow you to configure several elements of the phone hardware and operating system. The arrangement of the setting may differ from one mobile operating system to another, but the most part, you will find setting that affect. So you notice that these are the same type of setting that you can configure in a desktop operating system. The virtual personal assistant. Actually, many mobile operating system include virtual personal assistant, which are voice-activated services that use a natural language using interface to answer questions, make recommendations, and perform actions by delegating requests to a set of web services. You speak natural language voice requests and commands in order to operate your smartphone and its application. So, for example, you can say, "Okay, Google, show me some maps of Mesa, Arizona." Or you can say, "Siri, remind me to take the turkey out of the freezer tonight at 8 p.m." So in order for the virtual assistant to work, they need access to items such as your location, contacts, voice input, browser history, search history, calendar details, information from text messages, and email messages, and so on. The first time you launch the assistant, you will be prompted to allow access. Note that most of these functions and services required a connection to either a Wi-Fi or a cellular network. So this will be the popular assistant include Siri from Apple, Google Now from Android, Cortana from Windows, BlackBerry Assistant from BlackBerry. The operating systems update. So, operating systems are routinely updated for the purpose of increasing security, fixing bugs, and adapting to new hardware and technology standards. So, updates can be released in various forms. So, it include patches. No? A patch is a file programming code that is inserted into an existing program to fix a known problem or bug. Updates. An update is a file or collection of software tools that resolve security issues and improve performance. And service packs. A service pack is a collection of updates that is typically released after enough updates have accumulated to warrant the release. Microsoft provides updates for the Windows operating system and web browser through a service called Windows Updates. The updates can be downloaded from the Windows Update website. Apple provides updates in the Mac App Store and on the Apple Support download site. Actually, there are different kinds of updates. Sometimes security updates or critical updates protect against security, vulnerabilities, and viruses and spyware. Other updates correct errors that are not related to security or they enhance functionality and improve performance, most commonly. So, automatic updating. Okay, the Windows Update website was first made live when Windows 95 was launched, and user would check the website and manually download and install updates. Since that time, Microsoft has continually made the update process more streamlined and automated. Actually, in Windows 7, 8, and 8.1, Windows Update is a service that continuously check for updates automatically. And user can configure the service to run in one of three ways. No, you can automatically check for and install the latest updates. Or you can also set Windows Update to check for and download updates and then alert you that updates you are ready to be installed. And you can even set it not to check for updates at all because users can also manually check for available updates at any time. So we have update categories. We have important, recommended, and optional. Windows 7 and 8 users open configure their systems to automatically install critical updates and then decide whether to install feature updates on a case-to-case basis. So in Windows 10, of course, Windows Update automatically downloads and installs the latest updates, drivers, and patches released by Microsoft. Of course. Manually checking for updates. Microsoft releases important updates every second Tuesday once per month. Updates can be released at any time. You can manually check for and install these updates by opening the setting app and clicking update in security because Windows Update is the first tab in the update and security windows. So, of course, The current status of the system is shown in the right pane. In the preceding figure, the current status is your device is up to date. Notice that the message also shows when Windows update last check for available updates. So you just click check for updates to have Windows update check for. Download and install any available updates. How about updating a mobile device? Benefits and drawbacks of automatic updating. Okay, keeping your system update ensures that you have the latest security schemes and technologies as well as the latest features. However, not all updates are necessary, and at times update can cause unexpected conflicts and even failures. This is especially true in workplace or school setting when computer system must often interact with old hardware or old application. When mobile phone manufacturers create updates for their devices, they decide when those updates will be pushed out to their customer base. Users will see a notification on their devices that an update is available and ready to be installed. So you can also check manually for updates. So to look for updates for your Android phone, of course, you need to connect to Wi-Fi. Tap the settings, then tap system updates. Tap check for new system updates. For the iPhone, connect to Wi-Fi. Tap settings, general, software updates. Tap download and install. So this will be the references. But prior to that, we need to take note that it is always good idea to back up your personal data before installing an update. You will learn how to back up your mobile data in the upcoming lesson. So So what will be the summary of this lesson? Okay, you learn about the features and functions of modern operating system, and you also learn how to start the computer and how to access various features of the operating system. Thank you very much. It ends our lesson 1. Okay, that this will be the content of our week 1, all about operating system fundamentals. Okay? So actually our asynchronous class will be later, I think that is 4:30 to 6:30.